Hi, guys. Welcome to a new episode of Unit 13. We're going to be working on lessons 3 and 4 today. I'd like you guys to learn more about astronomers and astronomy. So, we're going to be having a listening section here today. Please make sure you have your notebooks and your pens because we're going to be writing down notes along with answering questions. Let's enjoy together. Let's start and look at the objectives for the day. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about being an astronomer, and we're going to listen to an astronomer talk about her work, and we're going to carry out an internet search about the moons of planets in the solar system. So first of all, I want you guys to look at the picture that you can see here. We can see that the Earth is rotating around the sun. Now, guys, do you ever feel the Earth turn? I want you to just visualize and relax and imagine when you are looking up at the sky, feeling relaxed. Do you ever get that feeling that the Earth is turning? The answer is probably no, you cannot feel the Earth turn. The second question is, would you like to be an astronomer? Some people are really interested to learn about planets and learn about the solar system and how such things work. So whatever you answer, I'd like you to explain why. So please, in your notebooks, write down whether you would like to be an astronomer or not, and place your reasons. If you're interested in another job, you can also write it down. Okay, we're going to continue, and we're going to go to the listening section. Please listen carefully while looking at the sequence of the questions. So you're going to be numbering those questions after you listen or during if you are ready.
Thank you very much for that interesting talk about astronomy, Professor. Could you possibly answer some of the students' questions?
Of course. What would they like to know?
Could you please explain to me why I can't feel the Earth turn?
Yes, it is interesting that we can't feel the Earth moving. The Earth turns around itself about 1,670 kilometers an hour, and more than 100,000 kilometers an hour around the Sun. The most important thing to remember about this is that when something is moving all the time, you can't feel it. Like when you are on a train. Are you following me?
Yes, thank you, Professor. I wonder if you could tell me what a star is made of.
A star is made of gas. And there is another interesting fact about stars. Did you know that the Sun is a star? It is the only star in our solar system.
I didn't know that. Thank you, Professor. Any more questions? Yes, Salma? I'd like to know if you like your job.
Oh, I love my job. But like many astronomers these days, most of my work hours are in front of a computer. My favorite part of the job is when I use a telescope at an observatory, because then I look at the thousands of stars. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Okay, so I'd like you guys to try and number the events or the conversation based on the sequence from the beginning to the end.
It's okay.
Okay. Guys, we're going to number. The first one is done for us. Could you please explain to me why I can't feel the Earth turn? That was the first question. Now let's find the second one, which is, I wonder if you could tell me what a star is made of. So number 1 is B, number 2 is D, number 3 is C, which is, I'd like to know if you like your job. And the last question that was asked is, do you think that we could come and see the observatory one day? So that was the final question. Guys, please, if you need to listen, you may listen one more time. We are going to listen anyways because we're going to continue answering a sequence of new questions. Now we're going to move here. This is question 3, and you can listen one more time so that you can get a full, complete answer.
Thank you very much for that interesting talk about astronomy, Professor. Could you possibly answer some of the students' questions?
Of course. What would they like to know?
Could you please explain to me why I can't feel the Earth turn?
Yes, it is interesting that we can't feel the Earth moving. The Earth turns around itself about 1,670 kilometers an hour, and more than 100,000 kilometers an hour around the Sun. The most important thing to remember about this is that when something is moving all the time, you can feel it, like when you are on a train. Are you following me?
Yes, thank you, Professor. I wonder if you could tell me what a star is made of.
A star is made of gas. And there is another interesting fact about stars. Did you know that the Sun is a star? It is the only star in our solar system.
I didn't know that. Thank you, Professor. Any more questions? Yes, Salma? I'd like to know if you like your job.
Oh, I love my job. But like many astronomers these days, most of my work hours are in front of a computer. My favorite part of the job is when I use a telescope at an observatory, because then I look at the thousands of stars. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Okay, so I want you guys to look at the fact file right in front of you, which is about the solar system. A fact file is basically a piece of information that we can have evidence on. So it gives us information that can be proved through evidence. Now, the first one is done for us. Let's read it together. The Earth turns at 1,670 kilometers an hour and blank thousand kilometers an hour around the Sun. So we need to try and remember based on our listening dialogue. So let's check together. 100,000 kilometers an hour around the Sun. So the Earth turns at 1,670 kilometers an hour and 100,000 kilometers an hour around the Sun. Question 2. A star is made of, I want you guys to try and remember based on the listening section. What is a star made of? The answer is it's made of gas. The star is made of gas. Okay, let's go to number 3. The blank is the only star in our solar system. The blank is the only star in our solar system. What is the only star in our solar system? Based on the passage that, or the dialogue that you've just read, that is the Sun. Okay, the Sun is the only star in our solar system. Please make sure you remember this piece of information. Now we're gonna get it going with searching, guys. I need you to place your phones on the QR code, and I'd love for you to scan it with your cameras so that you can find out some facts about the moons and other planets in our solar system. And I want you to know where they are and what they are called through scanning the QR code. Okay, now let's move on to question 4 or exercise 4. Guys, this is our speaking section, so you're going to practice speaking along with listening. I want you guys to ask and answer using polite questions about the following. So we're going to have those words in the okay, one more time. We're going to ask and answer questions. We're going to ask and answer using polite questions about the following. Let's look at the sample before we start anything. Could you please tell me what you plan to do in the summer? I'm going to visit my cousin. So this is a dialogue between two people, and the speech bubbles are basically someone asking a question and politely, and the other boy is answering also politely. So guys, you can ask about many topics that are in the word box at the top. You can ask about future plans, you can ask about likes and dislikes, you can ask about your favorite hobbies and interests and how something works. Now, if you're not sure how to start, you will definitely be able to start using the functions box at the bottom of the page. So you might say something like, could you please explain to me why you are not having any future plans? Or you could say, I wonder if you could tell me what are your likes and dislikes. You can also say, I'd like to know if you know how this computer works. Or you can say, do you think we could start a new favorite hobby? So there are many questions to ask politely. So you can start with, could you please, or I wonder if, or I'd like to know if, or do you think we could? Please try to practice using polite words. You may use the topics word box at the top. Thank you. Now we're going to wrap up lesson 3. We have completed the following. We talked about being an astronomer. We listened to a speech by an astronomer who was interviewed, and we carried out an internet search about the moons of planets and the solar system. Now we're going to move on to lesson 4. Our objectives for the day are we're going to practice using polite words, and we're going to do a quiz about politeness. This is going to be interesting, guys. Okay, so let's look at exercise 1. We're going to complete the polite questions, then match the questions with the answers. So let's look at number 1, which is modeled for us. If you could tell me to become an astronomer, it is how difficult, I wonder. So you need to use those polite questions to create your own. I wonder if you could tell me how difficult it is to become an astronomer. I wonder if you could tell me how difficult it is to become an astronomer. Let's try with number 2. If there's anything you don't like, tell me, could you, about the job. So what should we start with? We could start with, could you tell me if there's anything you don't like about the job? So number 2. What would be the answer, guys? What would be the answer for number 2? If there's anything you don't like, tell me, could you, about the job. We'll say, could you tell me if there's anything you don't like about the job? We have to match it with one of the answers at the bottom of the page. So it would probably be, I have to work long hours. So we will match number 2 with D, because D is the answer to the question that we're going to rearrange. Let's look at number 3. The biggest planet has how many I'd like moons to know? So we can start with, I'd like to know how many moons has the biggest planet got. Okay, so in that case, we might say 67, but new moons are found every day. So we will match number 3 with C. Let's look at number 4. A star, explain, could you, what is made of? So we can start with, could you explain what a star is made of? So if we're going to find the answer for this polite question, it would be A, gas. So we will match 4 with A. Let's double check our answers. We can start number 2 with, could you tell me if there's anything you don't like about the job? And number 3 is, I'd like to know how many moons the biggest planet has. And number 3 would be, could you explain what a star is made of? And now we're going to write down the numbers that match the letters to the answers of the polite questions. So B is done for us. B is number 1, and D is number 2, C is number 3, and A is number 4. Please always check your answer and follow up with me. Now we're gonna go to our favorite part, which is the psychology quiz to check our politeness level. Now I'm gonna ask you guys to work in pairs with your parent or friend. Number 1, you are waiting for a bus home with lots of other people. When the bus arrives, do you wait for other people to get on until it is your turn, or do you move quickly to get on the bus first? Now, I want you guys to answer honestly and bluntly. So please write down your answers in your notebooks, and then we're going to analyze our answers together. So if you're waiting for a bus home with lots of other people, when the bus arrives, do you wait for other people to get on until it is your turn, or do you move quickly to get on the bus first? Let's go to number 2. Your teacher asks the class a question and you know the answer. I'm sure this happens a lot of times, guys. So how do you feel when you have the answer to the question? Do you A, quietly put up your hand, or do you call out the answer quickly? Now, please say the truth and write it in your notebooks. Let's go to number 3. A student in your class has a book that you want to read. He or she asks the class who would like to read it. Do you say, could I read it, please? Or let me read it? I'll say that again. A student in your class has a book that you really want to read. He or she asks the class who would like to read it. Do you say, could I read it, please? Or do you say, let me read it? Now, write your answer in your notebooks, and please be honest because this is gonna make a huge difference with the results. Now let's go to number 4. Your friend is visiting your house and you decide to watch television. You would like to watch a film, but your friend wants to watch a tennis match. Do you say that you're happy to watch the tennis match, or do you tell your friend that you're going to watch the film? I'll repeat this question slowly. Your friend is visiting your house, so your friend is coming over and you decide to watch TV together. You want to watch a film, but your friend doesn't want to do that. Your friend wants to watch a tennis match. So what do you do in that case? Do you A, say that you are happy to watch the tennis match, or do you tell your friend that you're going to watch the film? Now choose the blunt and honest and direct answer, and then let's move on. So guys, if you answered mostly A, do you think that you're polite? So let's look at all the answers for A. Do you wait for other people to get on until it is your turn? Do you quietly put up your hand in class when the teacher asks a question? And do you politely ask your friend if you can read their book? And do you also say that you're happy to watch the tennis match even though you prefer watching a film? If you do so, guys, there's a huge chance that you are more polite than other people. If you've answered mostly B, do you think that you could become more polite? So if you answered B for most of your questions, do you think that maybe you can work on your politeness level? Maybe. It's something to think about. Let's move on to number 3. Why do you think that it's important to be polite to people? Why do you think it is important to be polite to people? Guys, why do we need to be polite? What is the point of being polite? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it allows for better communication? I want you to think about the effect of being polite. Are there positive effects or negative effects? And which are bigger? Now, let's move on to number 4. If someone is polite to you, are you more or less likely to help them? So if someone is polite to you, would you be happy to help them or not? And I want you to think the opposite. If somebody is quite rude to you, would you want to help them or would you want to stay away from them? Please consider these questions and write your answers in your notebooks. Now, if you answered mostly A, that means you're a polite person. If you answered mostly B, then you could be more polite. You need to work on your politeness level. Number 3, why do you think it's important to be polite? Because people will want to help you if you are polite. And last one, if someone is polite to you, you're more likely to help them, of course. Now, our lesson summary for the day. What did we do, guys, today? We used polite questions, we used polite requests, we used could you, I wonder if, could you please, and I would like to know. Now, the unit summary. Now, guys, what have we completed so far in this unit? We have learned new vocabulary words, we used reported speech, and we used polite requests and questions. This is Musara Basyuni. I was with you today. Thank you. You did an awesome job.